Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. James, you said you had thoughts.
So this week, I'll just get right into it. This week, I know we normally meander on, but I'm not going to meander today because we have an important topic, and I
You know
hate
what
to
I
just go
hate,
on and
James, is
on.
when
And
people
what grinds
meander,
your
meander.
gears,
I
Joe?
tell you, what really just drives me up a wall.
But no, so we're talking about aliens this week. They're from outer space, outer
No, yes,
space.
let's be very specific in this day and time.
Not we're not getting political at
No,
all. We're
no,
talking
unless you want
about
to talk about those Rival
aliens
4 bastards.
from outer space or
Oh,
out of
yes.
space, or wherever out there in the cosmos.
Yeah.
So, but I was thinking about this, and it hit me. This actually, I had a academic thought, and I normally would not share that here because that's not welcome. But I think
Not in
it's
any
really
way.
interesting that you can almost chart, and of course, not every character, every alien that we're going to talk about is going to fit neatly into this, but you can almost chart this idea of what aliens represent in pop culture, film, movies, television, and it's really interesting. Now, again, this is not going to be an exact science, but the early 20th century, kind of the 1900s to 1930s, what we might call the pulp era,
Hmm.
and I'm talking pulp like pulp novels as well as
Hmm.
comics. Aliens kind of, I was looking at thinking about this and how am I going to pick aliens that I like and cultures that I like? But alien just was it's exotic, right? We need
Hmm.
something that's different than us, so we'll just call it an alien, and we'll make it up, and more or less they're going to look like us, or they're going to somehow relate to us. And you can argue H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. We saw their tripods and stuff like that, and the way it's described in the book is obviously different. But so there was this Mars was alien, not only War of the Worlds, but we had John Carter of Mars. We
Yeah.
had all of that going on. The real big influence there, it was still very much a colonial view, right? The aliens are going to come and make us a colony, or we're going to go to Mars and set up a colony. And so it was this idea of they're going to be so different than us that they're either going to colonize us or we have to colonize them.
Hmm.
And so it was exotic. If we go past that, and so again, examples of that would be War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells version, obviously. Edgar
Hmm.
Rice Burroughs' The Princess of Mars, which is John Carter of Mars. So the idea of aliens then was you used aliens in your fiction and your novels and whatever if you wanted to say this is exotic or mysterious.
Hmm.
By the time we get to the 1940s or 1950s, we've got war, and we go from the war into the Cold War, and there's this anxiety about weapons, right? The fear of invasion, the anti-communist sentiment, the way that technology was making us paranoid. Technology was not only rising us up, it could destroy us overnight. And so all of that came together. And also we had an increase in this time period of alien sightings. If you go back and the declassified documents, there's Roswell's the one that everybody points to, but there was a rise in people were seeing objects in the sky, whatever you feel about that, whatever you think that was. But we can chart it. There was a huge boom in, hey, unidentified flying objects. We start to see our aliens represent that paranoia. Invasion of the body snatchers is communism.
Yes.
The day the earth stood still is you're going to kill yourself.
Hmm.
Your technology is coming along. So aliens became a way to mirror the very real world geopolitical. It was no longer the colonial. It was now, hey, we're commenting on us. We get to the 60s and 70s, and it becomes an allegory for what's going on. It kind of takes that same idea, but it starts to narrow it down. We see a lot of civil rights allegory, Star Trek. Um, but we start to see optimism. There is more optimism in the 60s and 70s that the aliens won't want to just kill us or take us over or use our women. um, right? So it's
Those
this idea that there
bastards.
is, and that came about in part, I think, because of the space race. We were
Yes.
no longer waiting till they came to us. We were going to go to them.
You take the fight to them.
And so again, the notable examples would be things like Star Trek 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? The aliens are transcendent beings of immense intelligence. They're beyond our comprehension, but they don't necessarily mean us harm. It's our robots that mean us harm. Hal wants to kill us. And then we get to 1980s, and what happens, gentlemen? We have a boom in aliens in sitcoms. I would say 70s and 80s, right? You get
Yes.
Mork and Mindy.
Hmm.
You get E.T. You get Joe,
Alf.
Alf. I was going to let you say it. And
Thank you.
that's really interesting as well. Because what I think that means is we had actually became more comfortable, and I wonder if this is because the breakdown of families historically, right? There are all these articles in the 80s. If anybody wasn't born in the 80s, go back. I'm not making this up. It was, oh, the breakdown of the modern family. Divorce rates are increasing, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, it was easier to have an alien in your family than it was to deal with your actual family. It's easier to accept ET.
That's true now.
Yeah, I'm not. Hey, I'm saying it started in the 80s. I didn't say it ended. Right? I mean, if you go back and look and actually watch ET, no offense meant, Dee Wallace does a great job.
Yeah.
She's not Mother of the Year in that movie.
No.
ET's way more concerned about Elliot on a day-to-day basis than that mom is. She's
Well,
more
she's going through
concerned.
a divorce. She's a
Yeah,
working single mom, and
it's
she's like, "Can you stay?" And at literally the line, of course, it was '80s. It was a different time. I was left at home alone a lot too. Is can you be by yourself today? He's sick. She thinks he's
yeah,
sick, and still he's there. He's got to go to work.
yeah. And so this concept then is that aliens became easier to have in our family than our own family was. And the aliens that pop up bring the family together. Alf is an aggravation, hilariously so, but it actually brings the Tanners closer together. E.T. brings that family together. Mork, with all his commentary, is saying, "Hey, you're missing out on what's important, which is other people." And so again, this idea, and again, there's exception. Obviously, the Xenomorph doesn't play that way, but I would argue that's more of a horror film than it is
And yeah, it's a
an
haunted
alien
house
film.
picture.
And then by the time we get to 1990, though, we go through one more shift, which I argue is the fallout of letting them into our family. In 1990, we see a split. We still have them. We still have the family friend aliens, but we get to this idea of, okay, yeah, but some of them are going to pretend to be family and betray us, right? The
Yeah.
rise of the internet means everybody's communicating constantly. Conspiracy theories are spreading quicker. After the Cold War, but we're still paranoid. There's this idea of cultural globalization that you're no longer just making a movie for America. Now we're marketing that same film, and that works really well with a lot of ideas of, okay, well, let's take that idea and look at what's going on. So we see the X-Files, conspiracies around aliens and all that, and they are among us, or maybe they're not, but we don't know. And then we see even in Men in Black, Men in Black perfectly skews that line between both worlds. There are bad aliens, and then there's the entire scene where, you know, Jay, played by Will Smith, has to help that that alien deliver his baby.
I know. I'm just sitting here going, Men in Black. Chad, come on.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The the defenders.
And so it becomes, and then the final thing I'll say is,
Ralph's happy.
if we were charting this again, I would say when we get to the latter, the 2000s and a little bit latter, especially post 9/11, aliens start to reflect more of that identity crisis again. It's not the 50s, it's not the paranoia, but we see these characters that are aliens, or we see characters that are becoming alien because they no longer can fit into the world that they're in, right? So
Like
there's this
District
idea.
9.
Yes, as the perfect example, right?
Thank you.
There's terrorism and there's surveillance. We have to watch these people, but then District Nine's a perfect example of this because we're also in an identity crisis, which I think we were and arguably are
Oh, I more
still,
now than ever.
because we have this, well, of course, we're the promised land, and we have that entire statue about, give us your,
You're weak, you're tired, you're hungry.
but are we living up to that, and what does that mean? And then so we also have ethical alienation. We see it not only in alien movies, but with this, okay, yes, I will absolutely go to the final point and I will betray myself because I'd rather betray myself to protect others. But I will cross that line. And that pops up in a lot of alien type things as well. And the other side of that is we do get this idea of bioethics. And what does that mean? And what does that world look like? So District 9 is an example. What happens once he's contaminated? Well, he's no longer of us. We're going to put him with them. But you also have ideas of Avatar, right?
Hmm.
Aliens are a way to comment on colonialism and ruining areas and ripping off Dances with Wolves, um, and stuff like that. And so I think that's really kind of the thing. And then the last ones and more recent ones and it subgenre still is I think you also get to the idea of this existentialism and this idea of linguistics. Like,
Right, the rival.
yeah, Arrival, the Expanse plays around with some of this idea that alien technology is going to reshape. We think we're going to be the one to change an alien. It probably ain't going to work that way.
No, yeah.
And so, our language is going to have to change. And then we also have gotten to the idea of aliens as far as interdimensional beings. That's for you, Chad. No, but of this idea of, that we may have to face a time that we're not looking at the way that we could. And so I wanted to talk about that as a timeline because it was weighing on me. Actually, I'm like, well, aliens, we could almost break this down by timeline and say, what is an alien from the 1950s that we like? Was it in I'm not prepped to do that, but I was like, this is why that subgenre really, alien science fiction, has stuck with us for so long because we can just adapt it to be whatever we want it to be. And you can watch it as a kid and go, I like it because it's space lasers. And then you watch it as an adult and go, oh, them body snatchers, I don't think they were actually aliens.
So I think we're good now. This has been Bonehead Weekly. Thank you all
Sorry.
so much.
Sorry.
Appreciate you for
I
tuning
don't
in.
do it often.
No,
Easiest one for me.
yeah, it was good. That whole, not to steal a James joke that he steals, but that whole 20 minutes where you just sit there trying to breathe out your nose there, or Admiral
Yeah.
Cartwright, or
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah,
Stockdale
yeah.
or whatever.
Stockdale. Admiral Stockdale. Now,
Yeah, that was
Admiral.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the best you've ever been on this show. I've
Made,
loved
Yeah.
made made people think you had something on your mind, that you had more
it.
important things
Yeah,
going on.
that
That's
there
just
was,
brilliant.
there was
Brilliant.
layers like an onion. So, James, you're right. But what I would say is everything you said is correct, is that's true for all genres. So Tarantino says that Westerns are the most representative of whatever time they were made in. I don't know that I have a good argument to make, but I always say, and it really shouldn't be what this specific is everybody says I do love horror films. I don't know it's my favorite genre, but I think you can tell any story in a horror film.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think it's probably true to just say you can tell any story in a genre,
yeah.
whether that be
Uh,
science fiction or fantasy, really, is what we're talking about here. Some of this is science fiction, maybe like Arrival and a few others, but let's be honest, Alien, Star Wars, this is just fantasy. These are either haunted house, space operas, stuff like that.
well, and,
You
and
could,
I think you're absolutely right. Your point about how important genre is, because, and you can tell that because how many movies have been remade in other genres. I just saw, I think it's Arrow. Correct me if
Mhm.
I'm wrong if you all know, but Arrow just announced they're bringing out a deluxe edition of Sean Connery in Outland, and
Which
it's
is a
getting a big,
Western.
it's getting a big push.
Yeah.
But what was that movie originally called,
It's
Joe?
just high noon.
It's High Noon.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
Western. So yeah, I think that, and you could also make the same argument that Seven Samurai.
Oh, it's
Um,
that Seven Samurai has been told. Was it Harlan Ellison said that's the best story? That's the one.
yeah,
That's one of. Am I
and he
wrong,
made
James?
his version called Seven Against Chaos, which is a science fiction telling of it.
You're right, but I mean that movie has been told.
Told
It's
over
like
and over and over again. Yeah.
yeah, and Jimbo's the same way. I mean, there's
Yeah,
even The Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis, where it's
yeah.
basically another Western,
It,
only it's
it's a
told in a
it's a it's gangster film. It's
It's
supposed to
told
be.
gangster
1920s.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But it's Jimbo. It's about a badass
Yeah.
playing both sides.
Why is
Yeah.
it?
It
Why is it?
goes.
Why did you use Bruce Willis? It also stars Christopher Walken.
Yes. It
And
also
and not mentioning the fact that it's also the Clint Eastwood. Oh my God.
Good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. Well,
Is
well, you're talking about For a Fistful of Dollars.
Oh
there
Okay.
you
yeah,
go.
yeah. Sorry,
Thank you.
Fistful of Dollars.
Thank you.
Sorry, I went good, the bad, and the ugly because I read an
So,
entire thing about
so genre,
Van Cleef.
genre, the easiest definition of this is just a story with expected outcomes. So what happens is if you hit point A, point B, and point C, and an audience knows you're going to hit A, point B, point C, what you do is the subtext, and I hate to be really, and please, you two are smarter than me. Argue with me anytime. You do whatever the fuck you want with the subtext, as long as it's subtext.
Yeah, well,
You hit these parts and you tell a good story, and what really your story is telling with the subtext is down here. And people
yeah.
don't pay much attention, and they all represent our times. Media represents our times.
Oh yeah,
Why
yeah.
consistently, back to horror films, why are horror films right now, more popular than ever in
Yeah.
theaters? Because Hollywood, we used to say they make 4 films, they don't even do that anymore. There's only 3 movies that come to theaters.
Or comic books and animation.
That's it. What's the fourth? It's not even there. For a while, you could have for a while romantic comedies are still. I don't see those. There's one that you will come out on Valentine's Day, but you know what else comes out on Valentine's Day? It's always a horror film.
Horror. Always horror.
Always a horror film.
You know, you bring this up, and I think you're right, Joe. I didn't think I'd bring this up, Chad. I know Chad. You were waiting for it. Have you seen the new season of Rick and Morty?
Yeah, watched every episode while I was laid up with this injury.
I watched them last night. I couldn't go to sleep.
Injury.
And I got up and
Rhinoplasty. He's calling it
and
an injury.
I marathon, and there's that great episode, which I give him credit for getting James Gunn and Zack Snyder to do the episode as themselves and mock themselves. But the entire plot of that episode is, to Joe's point, if you throw off that routine, your movie can't end.
Yeah.
Like there is something to be said that people have an expectation, and if you cut out a third act or make the third act not connect to the rest of the movie, you'll kill your audience. People want a certain level. Some people want a certain level of surprise, right? We'll let you M. Night Shyamalan a little bit, but you can't go too far.
And when it and
like M. Night Shyamalan does.
Well, and you still have to get some comeuppance.
Yeah.
And Tarantino does it almost better than anybody. There's a release at an end of a Tarantino film. Gentlemen, do you not agree? He understands genre probably better than anybody on earth. You can rewrite history, but when you rewrite it, those bastards are going to kill everyone. Hitler's going to get his face not only blew up, but stomped in, his head stomped in. There is a catharsis, a release in all these movies. And that's all it is that third act is bringing it. You can be slightly, and this leads me to a whole other point. James, go ahead and make your point, because I'm about to say there are some that change that third act. But what were you going to say?
No, it's just the plots of the Rick and Morty episode is they take a script and they're like, this is stupid, I don't like this, and they change one thing and it ripples, and then they get stuck in the movie and they can't escape it because they can't make the audience happy.
So, by the way, also side note, they do a great ripoff. They do a great parody of Prometheus.
I will watch.
Laugh my ass off so hard.
I will watch this season. So, if you don't mind, I will talk about one of my favorite Alien films, and it's my favorite John Carpenter film. It's The Thing. So, The Thing has a bummer ending, and it doesn't necessarily end the way you want it to, right?
You can't do The Thing because we're talking about aliens, and you don't have an actual species name.
Actually, that's actually its alien name, but we're just mispronouncing it. It's actually their alien name is Thingies.
So the Thingy, still, even with you don't know which one could be the Thingy, or if Thingy's dead, it still ends with what? A big ass explosion before that. There's still a certain amount of catharsis. And the thing is you are actually watching a character story about people who don't trust each other, who lose complete confidence in society, what society they've built, and it just builds and builds and builds till it literally all blows up.
It's Alien Yojimbo.
I don't remember the thing he's playing.
The thing is playing everybody against one another.
Yeah, it is. Okay. I
mean, I've never thought about it.
I guess you could go with that. I was about to say,
blew your fucking
McCready and Childs played them. Yeah. Anyway, so What we're talking about here is genre, expected outcomes. And you have to have, I'm not saying it has to end happy. I'm not saying it has to end sad. I'm saying it has to have a definitive, or I shouldn't say a definitive, but it has to have something where it goes, "Woof,"
Yeah.
where you have a release. Just like, oh my God, why is Norton deciding to update right at that moment? It just showed up and then went down. Okay. So my first pick would be John Carpenter's The Thing. And back to what you're saying about representation, that's one that I feel is up there with The Day That Earth Stood Still, and people are going to start stabbing me. But what I mean by that is that the themes or the subtext of each one of those films have not left us. Do either one of you agree? The distrust, the why can't we just get along? What there, all these things of not working together, all it has not left us, and it's just as I don't want to use the word important because we're still talking about a silly science fiction rubber movie, but rubber monster movie, probably the best rubber monster movie or one of ever made. But the themes and the subtext have never left. What's another one that's never left? As far
So
as there's a yeah,
I'll go second. Yeah. So you talk about a big release. My aliens from my movie had actually have a big release. Earth Girls Are Easy.
blink,
Go fuck yourself. No, Earth Girls Are Easy,
blink,
man.
blink,
Now,
blink.
how can you
I
jump to
didn't even
that
like it
without
as a kid.
how
I
can you
loved it
jump
as a
to that
kid.
without acknowledging my stepmother as an alien?
I refuse. My stepmother of an alien holds nothing to Earth Girls Are Easy. By the way,
I disagree on this one.
love
I would
this.
say that is
No,
actually superior, even though it sucks.
I am joking because I loved Earth Girls as Easy as a kid. I really did. And this was before In Living Color, so this was my introduction to Jim Carrey and Damon Wayans. That being said, I have watched it as an adult, and woo boy, does it not hold up at all. No wonder it bombed. I don't know what I was thinking as a kid.
Did you watch that with the double feature, that and Vibes?
No.
You should. That should be a
I
boat. Come on, we should go ahead and auction off the opportunity to sit with us outside, get us one of those big ass screens, and we're going to do Jeff Goldblum sucks, and we're going to do Earth Girls Are Easy, followed by Vibes.
By the
But
way, I want to point out that seriously, someone that is in My Stepmother as an Alien is going to be at Scarefest. You all have to remember that.
Dan Aykroyd,
No,
Kim
Juliette
Basinger.
Lewis.
Is she? I don't even remember who's in it. By the way, I didn't think that movie was all that bad to begin
Who's
with, but I
it is a
enjoyed it.
who's who of people that went on where you're like, oh, because I recently did another show where we discussed Juliette Lewis, and I pointed out that she's in that, and I actually made the
You
argument
can't just you can't just
she
give somebody some support on here.
well, I don't want to ruin. I don't know how this and now. I don't know how the business works. I mean, we have this show for years and nobody watches it.
Yeah, and if you're listening, sorry, we're going to still keep playing with the drop date because let me tell you, Thursday morning, Thursday night did not help our numbers any. Keep going.
But anyway, Juliette Lewis is in it. But I actually made the argument. I was like, looking at everything Juliette Lewis has been in. You could totally do the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon and make it the 6 degrees of Juliette Lewis and not
yeah,
miss a beat.
yeah,
Hmm.
I
I may
agree.
bring that
Because
up to her when I do her panel at the Scarefest coming in October. Please buy
Because,
your
by the
tickets.
way, what the movie? Well, I need to stop talking about it because we need to let that episode air. But anyway, yeah, yeah,
Oh, do you want me to drop a Bonehead Weekly? Will have a live
yeah. No,
Saturday
we need to. Yeah,
afternoon. Huh?
yeah. No, we need to talk about that. I just don't want to spoil another perfect show.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say we are working on a celebrity guest. Stay tuned.
Will it
But
be? Will it be me? Am I going to be a celebrity before then?
Chances are no. Are you going to finish Earth Girls Are Easy? I
I'm
thought you
No.
were
trying
joking.
to. No. Seriously, that was my first pick because it had such an impact on me as a kid. And the aliens are just goofy. If you've never seen it, by the way, if you ever look up Julian Temple, who is the director of this movie, he directed this and a couple of other movies. I forget the name of the movie he did with Mickey Rourke and Tupac Shakur that Mickey Rourke wrote. He does
Oh, I know what you're
mostly
talking about.
his whole career is rock documentaries and music videos. Um, and his documentaries are really good. But for some reason, Julie Brown, who wrote the majority of this film,
Downtown Julie
Julie,
Brown?
no, that's not. No, Downtown Julie Brown is a British African American lady. This is just Julie Brown.
Well,
I
if she's
think.
not downtown, I'm not interested.
I don't think they were both called Downtown Julie Brown. But yeah, so she wrote this movie. She's in it. It's about three aliens who crash in Gina Davis's pool, and it's that through shaving Nair in a tanning bed, they look like humans for some reason. Makes no sense. And it's all about them wanting to have sex with Earth women.
All right, I may have to rewatch that part. No, I'm not. Yeah, I
That makes
promise I'm
him a
not
lot
giving you
like
shit.
Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
Joe,
I need a
usually-
lot of
The
hair.
usually-
Nair and tanning bed part. I stopped listening after that.
Now, in all fairness, Joe, you shit on a lot of the movies I pick, and I don't agree with you at all. This one I will agree with you on that it's shit.
That's not true. I don't shit on you any more than you shit on me.
Oh, sir.
Oh, you
In
go
terms-
out of your
in terms-
way.
Yeah, because in terms of movie picks, not even close.
You go out of your way,
Of course I do, fuckface.
James.
Oh, me? Am I doing an alien now? I was letting y'all get it out of your system.
Shut up. Let me finish talking to this asshole. I'm not done with you yet, and my
Which one are you
camera's not.
pointing at? I can't tell. Your nose is
I know.
three different ways now.
And my camera is not reversed, so I keep pointing at you, and it keeps pointing at like I'm pointing at James. It's fucking me up. Go ahead, James.
I mean, I'm going to start with an obvious one for nerddom, my nerddom growing up, and it's Spock as a Vulcan, but he's not pure Vulcan.
Now, see.
Oh my God, he's going to go off.
I
I've triggered him.
knew. I was like, guys, you cannot pick Star Wars or Star Trek, any of the alien. And of course, James, what does he do? First pick Vulcan.
Well, we didn't establish that for this one. I didn't know.
Also-
God, I figured it was unwritten.
not to be a hook-nosed Jennings,
The rest is
but is he technically good? He's kind of a half-breed. I'm pretty sure Cher wrote a song about him.
Yeah.
well, and that's actually what I was going to say. By the way, do you know this is a true story? Do you know who Gene Roddenberry originally wanted to play him?
Cher?
I
No.
knew this at one point, but I've blanked. I forgot.
Honey.
Originally, and this came out, Leonard Nimoy stated this that Gene Roddenberry had told him that his original choice that he could not get to take the role to play Spock was the great George Lindsay.
Why would George Lindsay turn it down?
I don't know, dude. Look it up. I'm not making it up. George Lindsay. By the way, if you don't know who George Lindsay is, Joe, who's George Lindsay?
George Lindsay is he got really famous not only from the Andy Griffith Show, but and I'm not knocking him. I think George Lindsay's a funny dude, but for doing a lot of homespun Southern humor kind of shtick. Am I
He
missing?
played Goober. I mean, he played
He played
Goober on
Goober.
Hee
He
Haw.
played Goober.
He
he's
played
on
Goober
Hee Haw.
on Hee Haw until 1992.
No, he was Goober on
I
Andy
know,
Griffith.
but he kept the character going on Hee Haw from 1972 to 1990.
He's also
Go ahead.
he's a good voiceover actor.
So I got to mention this fun fact about George Lindsay. I don't know if you knew this. He was notorious. So when people were getting ready for Hee Haw, they had like one gigantic dressing room where they all got ready. He was notorious for whipping out.
I knew he was notorious. I didn't know about his dick, but
Yeah,
I knew he was notorious as a filthy, filthy mind and mouth. So much
Yeah,
so that Francis, it's not Bouvier, Francis Bouvier. Francis, what was Aunt B's real name? It's Francis something. B.
I can't
yeah.
remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So was just set him straight so many times. Chad,
Well,
just look it up.
There's stories of him running around the dressing room with his thing out, and what is it? Grandpa Jones
Yeah.
just being fuming at him for not putting it away.
I mean, I knew about his filthy mouth and jokes, and then it got
Yeah.
him in trouble with several
Yeah.
characters on the Andy Griffith Show.
Well, and I said Spock. Really, what I want to talk about is
I don't know
Vulcan.
why. I'm not shitting on George. I actually don't know why would George Lindsay turn that down.
I don't know. But by the way, the other ones considered were Mark Leonard, who would go on to play
Yeah, Mark
the
Leonard
first
did a fine
Romulan
choice.
and then play Spock's father, Sarek, and then Lawrence Montaigne.
I
was
don't
the
know who
other
that is.
person that Lawrence Mont. You would know him if you saw him. He was in just about every '60s show ever, from Batman to Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, The Man from Uncle, Mission Impossible, The Time Tunnel, Perry
Lawrence,
Mason,
what
The
was his
Cleft.
name?
Lawrence Montaigne,
Mun.
Montaigne. Only died relatively recently. He also appears in an episode in
Oh,
Star
that
Trek.
guy.
Yeah, in Star Trek, he ended up playing the rival for Spock's betrothed, T'Pring. So he is in an episode of Star Trek as well. That being said, all of that being said, I, I said Spock. I should have said Vulcans because I find it really interesting, and it's one of the things
Oh, that
that
guy.
the background. Yes, that guy. The
He did fine.
background. The background on Vulcans, if you have never seen Star Trek, is that they're a logic-based society. They've basically they have emotions. They just control them, and they keep them locked away because emotions have caused wars in their past, et cetera, et cetera. And somewhere back in their timeline, a group of them that championed their emotions broke off, and those became the Romulans. All of that is to say that's the mythos of the show, but as a product of storytelling, it works really well because it's a great way to point out human foibles and everything else that that we are sometimes overly ruled by emotions, but also that sometimes emotions are more important than logic. I mean, that's kind of the point of Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, and even that great line, sometimes the needs of the one outweigh
Mhm.
the needs of the many. There are times when logically, it's the reason the trolley problem works as a way to as a thinking thing. If we just follow logic, we'll kill the least amount possible, move on with your day. But we don't work that way. We're emotional. The other thing, though, that I did want to bring about Vulcans and why I think there's such a great alien thing is completely because of Star Trek Enterprise. Enterprise is being quote unquote rediscovered now. I read the other day going, "Oh, this was a way better show than it was given credit for at the time." I'm like, "Yeah, it
Yeah.
was." It and what I love about that is it's the first show. It makes sense that the original series of Star Trek, and by the time we get to the Next Generation, that yes, we're pals with the Vulcans. I love the fact that in Enterprise they really do look down on us because it would be logical to look down on us. Like they don't trust us. They're right. But then they follow logic so rigidly. One of my favorite episodes, and it's the one that introduces Jeffrey Combs as Shran, is the Vulcans can logically justify terrible war. I mean, justify because they don't hate. They see the Andorians as war causing, and it would be better to strike first at them than to risk them eventually striking. And that entire episode is a fascinating study in how you take an established character or an established group in fiction and then really make them different than they've ever been seen before. It's one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek, period, because it does show that we would not be, that we're not going to find an alien that immediately just goes, no, they're right. Let's get on board with them. Right. And usually in Star Trek, they were kind of like, oh, there's even a line, I think, in Star Trek 3 where they're on trial and the Klingon ambassador says, of course, the Vulcans are going to side with anything that, the Terrans want because they're buddy buddy. It was really great to see a time when the Vulcans as they logically, if they are logical beings, would look at us and be like, you're not ready to go into space. We're not going to give you our equipment. Are you out of your minds? And that's why I find them a fascinating way because you can do so much with them. They do work great as allies, but especially in that first season of Enterprise where really Archer he's being spied on. He's being watched. And it's a fascinating way to take a group of characters and show that they're going to be problematic if we're true to what those characters are. But they're still so endearing. Like you don't set the entire series of Enterprise going, I hate T'Pol. There's times when you're like, yeah, she's a problem. But it's a lot. It makes sense that this would be, and it was one of the first times we got to explore the fact that other than the very awkward brief moment between Zefram Cochrane and the first encounter, at the end of First Contact. It's one of the first times that we get to see that, everything is they're not automatically going to fall in line with what humans expect. And I really appreciated that. And so I think Vulcans are one of the most fascinating aliens to play around with the idea of, how this would work and what this would look like. And even if they look like us, that they're not going to be like us. And I also appreciate the fact that Enterprise pointed out that, we're not automatically going to be able to breed with them.
Huh.
And I mean, I'm just pointing out that
I have now forgot whose turn it was.
It's yours next.
sorry,
Oh.
I think it's one of the most iconic aliens that is one of the most versatile for storytelling.
Well, if you're going to talk about iconic aliens, I was going back and forth about between mine and I kind of with Chad on about and definitely removing Star Wars. But one of the most iconic aliens is especially for a man in a rubber suit, because I went back and forth with these two, but it has to be the Xenomorph. Because I couldn't decide between that and Predator. And as much as I love Predator, and one of you can talk about Predator after we're done, uh, it's hard to beat the Xenomorph, especially as a man in a suit and an alien, and you believe that that's an alien.
Yeah, I will say this. Man, Alien Earth is almost perfection.
Well, I haven't watched it because I haven't got.
What is
Wait.
wrong with you?
I don't have.
I
Hulu.
haven't watched it. I want it to be done.
I don't have Hulu. I'm waiting
You
on them
should-
to send me a better deal. They
You
keep
can get
sending
it
me
for
a bundle.
$3.90. You can get it for $3.99 a month.
Yeah, but they keep sending me a deal about three. I don't know if I can get it for $3.99 a month because I don't know. They haven't sent me that deal. They keep trying to send me a Disney bundle. I already have Disney, and
Well, you can come over and watch it with me. I'll watch it again. It is fantastic.
but well, thank you, and I may take you up on it, and I'll eventually get it because I do love Alien. But it's hard to beat the Xenomorph, right? What is
Mhm.
better than that in a man in a suit? I'm seriously, Predator's close because I can't throw the thing in there because the thing isn't a man in a suit.
I'll get
No.
you. I'll get you next. I got it.
What?
I'll get the best alien with with Shemana's suit.
Oh my God. What is this going to be? Invaders from Mars? Which version?
Stay tuned.
That's probably what you're going to do is stay tuned. It's like, I know we're talking about aliens.
Yeah,
But
that
have you
has
seen this? Have you seen this movie with John? Sorry.
that's about hell. That's
Yeah.
not no aliens in hell.
That's interdimensional beings. You'll make
except
a
those
way.
ones except for those ones from Alien Nation.
You're going to do. Oh, actually, those are kind of cool looking too. The movie's a little flawed, but those kind of. I like James
TV
Caan and Mandy Patinkin.
TV show was good.
I never watched it. So I love Alien. I love Aliens for two totally different reasons, because they're two totally different movies, even though they have the same lead character and the same antagonist. And each one of those movies, as long as you remove the Alien versus Predator two films, even if you don't like Covenant or Prometheus, each one of them is slightly different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Alien 3, people shit on it, but it's different.
I still don't. I enjoy Alien 3. I don't know why people shit on it.
I do too. It's because it was just so troubled, and trying to get that movie across the goal line, I think is one of them. And at the end of the day, it's not aliens. So, Alien Resurrection, goofy comedy in space.
Enjoy it.
I do too. I do too, Brad. There's a lot of great character actor work in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Prometheus has some really good scenes in it. Overall, not a great movie.
You lose me on this one, and you lose me if you talk about the sequel to that. No.
Covenant has some good scenes in it too.
No.
What are you laughing about, James? You okay?
Oh, my next pick, I was trying to get prepped for it, and I made the mistake of looking up some information.
Just go ahead. We've already moved on from the Xenomorph. What's your next pick?
What?
And then I'll
Chad's
go-
next.
Chad. Okay.
You can go ahead and Chad. I'll
So
keep it together.
I'll be quick because Joe says that the Xenomorph is the best alien about it with the man in a suit. I disagree. It's the Dogman from Mom and Dad Save the World.
So back to what I was saying. The Xenomorph. Mom and Dad Save the World, directed by that one dude who directed that one other movie called License to Drive.
Yep.
And License to Drive may very well be the better of those two pictures.
Man, I have a heart. So I really, 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 and still to this day, love Mom and Dad Save the World. It is so.
I watched it a while back, and I didn't hate it. I had
And
a good time.
I showed it to both my girls, and they said, "Dad, this is actually pretty funny." It's Greg Beeman, by the
I
way.
have to go watch it again. It's another one of those things where John Lovitz is overacted. You know what I enjoyed about that movie more than the movie was HBO used to do those 30-minute making of documentaries.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, that one got a 30-minute HBO making of documentary, like one of those summer blockbusters. I must have watched it 2 or 3 times because it had
It
a
would
ton
have.
of outtakes with John Lovitz in it.
So yeah, I this movie is nowhere near perfect. Or so a lot of people will go, Chad, why are you picking the dog men from Mom and Dad Save the World? I just think they're cool aliens, and the fact that there's one that has is married to an alien goldfish and they have children.
As one does.
Comedy gold. James, go ahead.
Speaking of comedy gold, I watched this show a lot. Um, and what got me was I was trying to think of, and I have a hard time finding one I can quote on the show without getting us canceled.
What
But
show is it? American Dad?
American Dad, Roger. Roger is one of the best aliens. Because
That's
the
because
easy,
they're just doing Paul Lynn. All
yes,
he is an alien Paul Lynn.
Yeah.
yes. Except it's not edited for television, Paul Lynn.
I agree.
And it's because I mean in the very beginning, the early part of the show, I'm pretty sure I asked for pecan sandies. That's one thing. By the time you get to about season 20,
Is it still on?
yeah, it's coming back to Fox.
It
They
is?
brought it back from TBS to Fox. Yeah, it's back as part of Animation Domination starting this fall. And by the way, I saw an interview with Seth MacFarlane because he's one of the co-creators,
Yes.
and they asked him about it, and he said, "Listen," he said,
Every James story ever always starts with, I was talking to this nun. This nun says, listen, here's the story.
listen, yeah, no,
I was
he
talking to this
he
Buddhist priest, and he's like, listen.
Seth MacFarlane said that American Dad, or I'm sorry, Family Guy had been brought back, and then he had the chance to do a film, which I'm assuming is Ted.
Yeah.
And he had to start developing it. Universal said, "We want you to start developing this," and he said, "So Family Guy had gotten a renewal, a multi-year renewal at that point, and American Dad was on, I think, its third season, and he said, I finally said." You all can take this and run with it. I'll keep doing the voices. And he goes, and that was the best thing I could have done for that show because the humor is not just my style of humor anymore. And he said the co-creators' names, and he said they really took it and ran with it. And while you see glimmers of what I would do, they have made, and you can totally tell because that's when Roger becomes the Roger he is in the later seasons. I will do a couple quotes, noting that these are quotes from American Dad. One
From
that
a
I was
fictional
watching.
alien.
Yeah, from Roger the Alien, which is a commentary. And Chad's, I'm sorry. Joe's right. It is Paul Lynde, but it is an alien Paul Lynde doing commentary, but also being the worst possible version of a human he could be. He's self-centered. He's self-righteous. He's everything else. Some of the lines, though, that crack me up. One that I watched the other day that I couldn't stop. I'll never get to quote it. I'll never get to use it in normal conversation. He just walks into a room and Steve's talking about some other character he goes to school with, and he goes, "Oh, that kid? Yeah, no, you can't compete against that kid. That kid has pulled more tail than a special needs kid at a petting zoo." It's just terrible. And then, oh, this is one of his most memorable quotes.
Preach, James.
It's terrible. Stan, I'm at shenanigans. I'm super drunk and I'm about to get raped. Come pick me up in about 45 minutes. Um, the I'm a huge heroin fan. Don't use it. Just like being around it, studying it, appreciating it, using it sometimes. I've seen two epileptics share a bowl of noodles with more grace. Let's see. I hate you. I'm not saying that out of anger. I want you to know that. But as a fact, it is indeed 67 degrees outside, and I do indeed hate you. Let's see. Another fine quote.
Yes.
Deadlines are like assholes. I do my best work when I'm pressed up against them. They're all terrible quotes. And if you watch the show, the reason he's a fascinating study in what an alien means in a cartoon sitcom is his shtick is that he can disguise himself and go among humans and fool people. And matter of fact, there's an entire episode where he is playing a character and one of the other characters doesn't recognize him and goes, "Oh no, that's my normal that's my normal doctor." And he looks at Steve and he goes, "Yeah, Steve, all of you have one of my personas that you don't realize is me." And Steve says, "Oh, who do I have? Remember that girl you lost your virginity to?" I mean, he's a terrible, terrible person as an alien. And there's a few episodes where we learn about his homeworld, and what makes it fascinating is they're all like that. Yet somehow he's the absolute worst of them. Because you find out the reason their society became the way it was is because he seduced and cheated on the king of their society just to prove he could do it. He's
Everything
a
you say makes me like him more.
I know it's one of those things. We've talked about other characters like this on the show before.
Mostly Eric Cartman.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you wouldn't hang around these people in real life.
No.
But there's something fascinating about seeing them on a screen.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's just no reason um that this character should be likable at all because every episode he shows you he's terrible. I'll do one last quote. Sometimes I sleep under your car like a cat or a meth addict. I'm not a cat.
All right. Is this the last round?
Last round.
I want to pick something obscure like Chad's been doing. I want to, but I kind of like to say something I really love, which I've been talking about. It's not a great show, but I mean, it's hard for me not to, for personally, Alf. What?
Real quick. Stupid show. This is a stupid thing. So I looked up Greg Beeman while James
Are
was
you
doing the
still going back to Mom and Dad Save the World?
hold on.
Interrupted me to go back to License to Drive, Greg Beeman.
It's very important that you let me do this because the only thing about the first fact that they have about Greg Beeman is that he went to college at the same time as Ken Quapis and was also his roommate. Do you know what Ken Quapis has directed, Joe?
Alf.
Vibes.
Oh, God.
Go ahead with Alf.
Okay, for our
Great.
listening audience, there is a movie, no shit, from 1988 or 87. I can't remember, Chad, but I think it's 88.
I'll let you know. Go ahead.
And it
88,
stars, yeah,
same year as Earth Girls Are Easy.
yeah. So, and it stars, no shit, Jeff Goldblum, Cyndi Lauper, and Columbo, right?
Yeah.
And they're all in this movie. And it was going to be a Cyndi Lauper big hit that summer. You've never heard of it, audience. It's called Vibes. The reason you've never heard of it is because
By the way,
it's
no,
oh, what?
Columbo was not in this. Michael Lerner, Raymond Beer, he's
Oh
not
my,
listed. I don't remember him being in it either.
I thought he was in it. So you here's how jacked up my memory is. I got the year right, I got the plot right, and I for some odd reason thought
No,
what
no, Peter Falk is in it.
Peter
Sorry,
Falk is in
he
it. Yeah.
he's not listed in the credits on IMDb.
Bless him, he shouldn't be, but Peter Falk is in it. And they have some sort of ESP and they're trying to find somebody and it's a terrible movie. You've never heard of it. Do not go seek it out. Unless
No,
you're just a huge Cyndi Lauper fan, in which case you probably already know about it. Now, back to the most
Alf.
amazing show ever created, Alf, where everyone on that set hated each other and they all hated the doll. They
Mm.
all hated the puppet. And everyone was miserable. Some of the stories about Alf behind the scenes are fantastic. And some of them are downright racist. You can go on and find all the YouTube clips. You don't know? Go ahead and Google that later. Don't do it on your work computer if you're at work right now. That
Yeah.
being said, I just like Chad has an attachment to furry guys who want to use Nair. I have an attachment to Alf a little bit, and
As do I. I can't. I mean, I'm right there with Joe. Alf was a key part of my childhood.
and I have a I don't have a huge collection, but there's another friend of mine, and she does panels at Scarefest, and her name's Katie Followell. And every once in a while, we find something on Facebook Marketplace that's Alf related, and we'll send it to each other. And she'll get pissy if I buy it, but I actually haven't bought anything in a long time. I just have a soft spot for it the same way there is certain things that just kind of make me smile. The opening to Amazing Stories will almost always make me smile. That John Williams music, I just love it. The Tales from the Crypt opening.
Yeah,
The
that
other day,
was
that just makes me happy. Even if
the
the
one.
episode's not great, it just
The one
makes.
Joe doesn't agree with me on, the opening to Monsters, always brings a smile to my face.
I get why it would. It's just out of those,
Yeah,
Monsters is a little bit of low budget one. I just makes me happy. By the way, this is apropos of nothing. Shudder has Demon Knight. I turned on Demon Knight because I wanted to get another movie I'll tell you all about later out of my mouth that I had to watch because I and boy, that movie sure is fun.
yeah,
Boy, that's just a really
love it,
shitty fun movie.
love it to death.
Boy, it's fun. Chad.
Oh, man. So this one's not obscure. I have like four. I'm gonna do a few honorable mentions at the end, but I got to go with the Krites from Critters.
Well, they're fun,
Yeah, yeah,
but they totally changed from one to two.
they
Whatever
do.
happened to that big ass critter?
Yeah, exactly. He's in the first one, and after that, really, there's no more talk of a giant crit. Krite.
Right, yeah. No, it never brings it up, never shows what happened to him. Maybe we should ask Mick Garris, but I don't
Yeah,
think he knows.
yeah. I don't
Or
think he
occurred
was,
to him?
or Mixtron.
No, definitely didn't involve. No, 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 no.
No, no.
Critters are
Yeah,
fun, and they're
I
part of our
love.
childhood.
Yeah, no, and I just love I love those aliens. I love the fact that basically they were like psycho porcupines. That's all they were.
It's a gateway horror film.
Yep, it
Critters
is,
1
and
and
that's what
Critters 2 are gateway horror films.
I agree, and that's what my daughter's wanting to get into horror films, and I started with Frighteners, which she actually liked, and I was going to do Critters for Halloween and maybe lead into something a little bit darker, but I cannot get her to sit down and watch Critters for me, even though I tell her it's really good. So
Now, Q burned through Critters and Critters 2. I can't get him to sit down and watch The Frighteners.
yeah, my daughter, she loved it. She jumped several times. She doesn't understand Jeffrey Combs' performance now. I wanted to throw her outside.
Well, it is different.
She can't question Tran.
No. So yeah, critters. I had to pick critters. I'll have a few more honorable mentions. I'll pick it
I
after
just keep
James goes on
fighting
another
on this pipe.
10-minute monologue about something. Go. Love you.
I'm sorry, Roger deserved a 10-minute monologue. By the way, I found another quote that I'm not going to do. I refuse. I refuse
We'll
to do
do
it.
it.
No, I
We haven't
literally
been
no,
canceled yet by our 3 fans.
no, no. Well, and it's all quotes from. If you've never seen American Dad, just go back 20 seasons. You got some catch up to do. I want to talk about. I guess it's a subgenre in and of itself. Um, of aliens, and that's hero aliens because you've got Superman,
Mm-hmm.
you've got John Jones,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
you've got Goku, for the
And
Dragon Ball Z folks,
Yeah.
and then you've got Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to me that all of these they play differently at different times. Obviously, as we've already established, aliens and science fiction genres, every genre gets updated and represents its time.
by the
Superman
way,
is
shame on you for not saying Adam Strange.
sorry.
Unforgivable.
Is that like Adam Warlock?
No, Adam
I
Strange.
just wanted to get your response.
I don't even know what you all are talking
I
about.
just wanted to get your response.
Oh, I want to kill you.
I know. No, but so the idea of aliens that become heroes, but they only really are heroes because they quote unquote learn humanity, right?
Yeah.
I think even James Gunn's movie, which I did enjoy, it's what does it end with? He's a better person when he just accepts his human parents, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that's a perfect ending for that character. That makes sense. Ma and Paul Kent are the center of arguably that character.
Yeah, they are who make Superman Superman.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, literally, they are like that. That is why that movie worked as well as it did, because it does make sense when he's injured. Where is he going to go? It's going to be Smallville. It's going to be home. It's going to
Well,
be
I have a
Right.
quick question before you, because you clearly haven't got to your pick yet. In
oh,
the
it's
comics, and this may be better for Chad because I know he's more of a Superman fan. In the comics, how much do we know about Superman's parents, and which movie is closer to the actual representation of them?
well, that
Well, I mean,
depends
James,
on pre-crisis, post-crisis,
yeah.
what
I mean,
world, what reality.
Oh
there's
my God.
so many
The
different
original.
variations of that. But I will say this: James got the parents sending him there.
Chad froze. I froze. We all froze. Hopefully it catches back up in a second. Hello?
Great
There it
story.
is. It's come back. You
Um,
all froze up on me the last 30 seconds.
Oh, so you didn't hear my entire response
Oh,
at all?
No, no, because it says my internet
I
connection.
said, James, the whole storyline. James actually purposely did that for a reason. That is not comic book lore. The parents never sent him to Earth to take it over,
I didn't think it was. I was
except
yeah.
for some else world where alternate realities or
Elseworld is what Marvel
yeah,
called What If, but
okay.
Marvel did it
yeah,
first.
Okay.
Except arguably DC did it first because they just had 4,000 different realities going at any given time.
yeah.
Earth 742.
52, 52.
All right. Better go with your answer because my internet somehow became unstable
Oh
again.
well, no, and I get that's what my point was. There's
Much
an
like your
entire
temperament.
subgenre of alien superheroes, and that was my pick. Is because arguably, and I know Chad knows way more than I do about some of these characters, but John Jones is Superman too. I mean, he's not Superman, but it's a very similar origin, right?
I mean, he basically is the same as Superman. He has a few different abilities, but they're
Yeah,
both in equal in terms of strength. They have the same strength, except for John Jones got his creator gave him the weakness of fire.
yeah. And Goku is. I mean, there's tons of internet arguments and memes and everything about could Goku beat Superman. He's Superman. He's Superman for that genre, for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that world. And so I think that that's my pick is that I find it fascinating that all these characters are alien, but what makes them heroes is humans. But then humans become reliant on them too. That's a fascinating story arc in and of itself.
Yeah.
So that's my pick is that there's a subgenre of hero aliens, and I include Silver Surfer in that because Silver Surfer, um, even in the Fantastic Four movie, it's when the character is exposed to humanity and has to reconcile. Okay, I'm going to have to help you, even though I work for the being that I brought here to destroy you all.
Yeah. And I mean, the new iteration of Blue Beetle's the same way in DC, where there's this alien armor that's built for destruction, but it attaches itself to a good human being who teaches the machine.
Hey
You
Joe,
know,
watch this. So you saying the new Blue Beetle basically ripped off the plot to Lilo and Stitch?
no, I'm saying Blue Beetle ripped off Spider Man, but that just gave him the
Yeah,
Lilo and
yeah,
Stitch.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you win. Spider-Man predates Lilo and Stitch too, but yeah, the idea of an alien, a bad alien, even bonding with a good human,
yeah,
either emotionally or physically, and then becoming a hero too. So you're right,
yeah.
Chad. That's another subgenre or interpretation of that idea. So yeah, that would be my pick. Is that I just wanted to acknowledge that there's all these hero characters in manga and anime and comic books and and video games
Which,
that
by the way,
are
the ultimate version of that speech is Venom.
yeah. Which, by the way, Joe, just for your benefit,
Mm-hmm.
here comes Venom.
Venom. Venom,
That's
Venom.
Eminem, little Eminem. Venom. Venom? If Eminem was possessed by Venom, would it be Venom? Anyway,
So honorable mentions. Joe, do
I
you want to go
have
first?
so many. There's just too many. I'll
Yeah,
give you two because there's seriously, folks.
yeah,
I know you all are going to get mad at us when you listen to this. I hope some of you give us some feedback because there's hundreds, but
yeah.
I'll give two.
I
Uh,
got two too. I'll just give
I'll-
two.
so Pitch Black.
Mm,
Technically, they're on another world, so was it really actually the aliens in that world? But I just think those creatures are cool,
yeah.
right? And man, I don't know. It's so hard to pick. Good, Chad, go, and I'll start because I can't really make up my
I'll
mind.
just quickly my three that I'm just going to talk real just list off real quick. A Transformers, Autobots, Decepticons, um, the biker mice from Mars.
They are from Mars. It's right in the title.
Yeah, and batteries not included. I always whenever we talk
Oh,
about
really?
aliens, I gotta mention the little robotic little flying saucers. I love those things. I love that movie.
Yeah. So the other one would be there. Oh God, I mean, truthfully, I don't know. Body Snatch. There's just so many. I could sit here for days.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
so many good
yeah.
ones. All right,
Night of the
James.
Creeps.
Neither
Uh,
creep, but Slither.
Yeah,
Leather.
same thing.
Yeah.
See, y'all are going with all these dark horror examples, and meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking
James, I said biker mice from Mars.
they're
ET don't suck
terrifying.
either.
They're terrifying. You ever leave cheese out for one?
They
Huge.
eat chili dogs. They don't eat cheese.
No, I know, Chad. I
Outside the
know the
Tasty
mythos,
Freeze.
Chad. I know the mythos.
The only person they're going to kill is Matlock.
Matt. Anyway, I'm going to go with some examples that I think do have some commentary, but they're absurdist too. Kang and Kodos from The Simpsons.
Oh, that's a good one. I
That
didn't
I
think
entire
forgot. I forgot all about King and
I
Kodos.
did
that
too.
entire line because they represent everything, all the horror examples you're talking about, but they also point out how ludicrous it would be to come to Earth to conquer.
I mean, even
Oh,
the first episode. Yeah.
the
All,
humans, they'll build bigger boards with bigger, bigger boards with bigger nails in it until one day they smash themselves. It's a stupid line, but it's actually a pretty good summary of a lot of alien films.
but dude, so James picked me up today to give me a ride back to work because it's a long story. My son and I were in the car and he was like, "Yeah, you just go. We'll just." And so what we did, James, when we got home, when we were eating, is we watched the first three, and I hadn't watched the first three. Well, I watched the first one last year, but I hadn't really watched the second or third. And you're right. It King and Kratos are in the first three tree houses. They work perfectly, and it's all just about how stupid humans are.
Yep,
Hmm.
there's more space dust on here.
Yes,
Uh,
it's just about how dumb we are.
To the book suppository.
yep. Um, and speaking of, by the way, the fact they're named Kang and Kodos and that being allusions to other
By the
aliens,
way, did I say depository or suppository?
suppository, but I wasn't going to
So
call you out
positive. I
on
was just gonna let you go.
it. I think there's two characters that are closely linked in the actual comics as well as in the movies that were based on them. Thanos and Gamora, I
Yeah.
think are fascinating examples of being two sides of the same coin, where Thanos wants to bring ultimate balance, and Gamora is the last of her species because of Thanos, and rides with him effectively for a long time before she decides he's the problem, and then she becomes a symbol of resilience and try, and it's a great way as a comic book because I guess my way of thinking about closing this is I did my rant at the beginning. When aliens are done well,
And in the middle, and at
they
the
yes, thank you, Chad. They are a great way to comment on the world that we live in,
Yeah.
right? And they're a great way to comment on different aspects of what's going on. And this idea of, oh, Thanos said idea of if we can just find balance, right? We need to find balance. We need to find balance. And balance should be the focus. Well, no, balance can't be just focus. We have to think about what somebody has to pay. And who are we comfortable with who has to pay? And so I think all alien stories are ultimately human stories, right? I mean, that's not shocking. That's not revelation. But it's funny to me that in all the stories or in all the examples we gave, including Roger, it's commentary on people. It's commentary on even the Cold War examples, right? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, they are us. The communists were also humans. And
Mhm.
so you're talking about wiping out people if you're talking about wiping out communism. And that's an uncomfortable thing. You don't want to get on TV and say that, oh, we're going to kill a bunch of people. But you can say, oh, they're aliens. We got to. So I think it's a fascinating thing that science fiction uses aliens and that media uses aliens from outer space as this commentary on what are we actually doing. Ultimately, aliens are reflections of what we consider human and what we consider inhuman. And Kang and Kodos, speaking of which, Joe, the first episode, it has one of my favorite lines. Oh, thank goodness you speak English just like us. Actually, I'm speaking Radchilian by a quaint,
Yes.
curious incident. They sound exactly the
They're the
same.
same. Yep. Yep.
And that's a good point. Aliens are us. We created these fictional creatures as commentary on us, whether we like it or not, sometimes by accident.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you all so much. And this has been Bonehead Weekly.